During World War II, the Germans tested new weapon systems and tactics to stop Allied high-altitude strategic bomber attacks. The intent of this video is to review how the Germans experimented with an anti-bomber concept of dousing the atmosphere with an ice-producing gas, which will lead to massive ice formation on the bomber. Ice formation would be detrimental to its continued airworthiness, leading to a loss. By summer 1944, Axis efforts to stop high-altitude heavy bombers were failing. Bomber sortie attrition rate was at a low value of around 1.5%, as shown on this chart from a 1945 Statistical Summary 8th Air Force Operations document. Efforts to increase the bomber attrition rates by air-to-air rockets, jet and rocket-powered fighters, upsized fighter armaments, increased flak batteries and such were all met with Allied countermeasures, or were only marginally successful, as described in these channel's videos. The reference source of this video is this November 27, 1944, Air Intelligence Weekly Summary document. The topic is listed as icing gas. Icing gas is a new tactic Germany may deploy to stop bomber attacks. The tactic involves creating a local ice-forming zone in the path of the bombers. Massive and quick ice buildup occurs on any object traveling through this zone. Gas tanks are fitted to a German fighter's wing. The tanks are similar to a acetylene gas welding tank. The tanks are filled with nitrogen combined with liquefied air at a temperature of minus 250 degrees centigrade. The gas is discharged into the atmosphere by a nozzle similar to a garden hose. The material is spread by the icing gas fighter by cutting in front of the bomber formation path or diving in front of the formation, releasing the compound at close range, like seen in this spot-on, channel-drawn concept image. Successful tests were conducted with an unmanned remote-controlled plane at altitudes up to 8,000 meters or 26,000 feet. The plane fell from the sky. The plane had around 2 inches of ice formation. The system may have been successfully tested in combat during a July 15, 1944 bombing raid. The higher the altitude of gas deployment, the more successful the results. This weapon can also be used against fighters attacking from the rear. Freezing out a tail attacker. Couple thoughts regarding the system. I couldn't find any follow-up documentation or evidence of its deployment on the July 15, 1944 bombing raid. U.S. bombers did incorporate 4 anti-ice features to protect vital systems from ice formation. This page from a 1944 B-17G Field Service Manual shows a leading-edge surface de-icing diagram. The wing and empennage leading edges are wrapped with an airtight rubber boot. The black rubber boots can be seen in this image. If ice builds up, compressed air will inflate and deflate the boot, breaking off any ice accumulation. This page outlines the propeller's anti-icing system. In this case, the leading edge of the propeller blade will be externally coated with an anti-icing glycol fluid. This image shows the nozzles located on a B-29. The fluid will coat the entire blade's leading edge by the propeller spinning action. The glycol is supplied from a 20-gallon reservoir. This image shows the windshield anti-icing diagram for the pilot, co-pilot, and bombardier stations. The anti-icing fluid is an ethanol alcohol supplied from a 5-gallon tank. Lastly, the bomber's carburetors have an anti-icing system as shown in this image. The anti-icing fluid is sprayed directly into the carburetor with the fuel. Fast-forming, heavy ice accumulation on a bomber would likely overwhelm these 4 systems, making for a dangerous flight. In addition, a 2-inch ice layer on the bomber's air-wetted surfaces would likely decrease its lift, increase drag, increase weight, keep bailout and bomb bay doors from opening, turrets and guns from operating, plug up the pitot tubes and static ports. Iced-over transparencies would be very dangerous. A fully iced-over bomber, as described in this document, would be catastrophic. Effective countermeasures could be sending dedicated escort fighters out ahead with instructions to target the fighters fitted with nitrogen dispersal tanks. Do you think this weapon system was a desperate, unfeasible tactic, or maybe had some viability? If you found this icing gas topic review interesting, please consider supporting the channel by liking, commenting, and/or subscribing to World War II U.S. Bombers.